Imu, the supreme ruler of the world who sits on the empty throne. You might be wondering what there is to talk about a character whose appearance we don't even know, but after doing some digging, I found out there is surprisingly a lot to them. In this video, we will be discussing the terrifying truth behind Imu's powers. From its immortality to Dori Reversi, this might just be Oda's most horrifying creation yet. First is its regeneration and immortality. The theory surrounding Imu's immortality and the Ope Ope no Mi's perennial youth operation is one of the most foundational and popular high-level discussions in the One Piece fandom, gaining significant weight following the reveals in Chapter 1085. The core of the theory stems from two separate but converging pieces of information. First, the tyrannical celestial dragon Don Quixote do Flamingo revealed that the Ope Ope no Mi's ultimate power is the ability to grant eternal life to another person, though it costs the life of the surgeon. Second, Emporio Ivankov, in Chapter 1085, upon hearing the name Nerona Imu, one of the original 20 kings, immediately theorized that Imu must be the recipient of this very operation, concluding that their lifespan must be far beyond human limits, stretching back to the Void Century. This narrative parallelism, orchestrated by Oda, is seen by many fans as confirmation, as it explains both Imu's existence after 800 years and the world government's profound secrecy surrounding the Ope Ope no Mi's true value. The most compelling occurrence is the fighting ability demonstrated by the Gorosei after their devil fruit forms were fully revealed. Characters like Saint J. Garcia Saturn were injured severely by prominent figures. For example, Bonnie stabbed Saturn, and Luffy landed devastating attacks including a Gear 5 punch, causing heavy damage and blood loss. In nearly every instance, Saturn and the other elders who subsequently appeared instantly regenerated from otherwise fatal wounds. They showed no lasting ill effects from being stabbed, punched, or crushed. Since the Gorosei report directly to Imu and are clearly serving an ancient purpose tied to the Void Century, it's heavily implied that their unique powers or their access to them are conditioned on their service to Imu. They are not truly immortal, as they can be damaged, but they are seemingly immune to fatal injury while transformed. The most crucial part of this theory is that Imu can revoke this ability. It is the logical inverse of the power Imu possesses. Imu is the recipient of the Ope Ope no Mi's ultimate sacrifice. It means they have been granted an unnatural life. If they can control or manipulate the life force of others as implied by the power given to the elders, they could theoretically remove the regenerative effect from the elders or knights if they were to fail or betray Imu, where Imu demonstrates the ability to remove this immortality when they strip Saint J. Garcia Saturn of his status for failure, causing him to rapidly age and die into a skeleton in the Egghead arc. We can also see it with the current latest chapter. The extent of their regenerative power is shown during a flashback to the God Valley incident, where Imu possessing Saturn and the elders withstand attacks from top-tier pirates like Rox D. Zebek, Roger, and Garp, and instantly regenerate. The connection between the forced mind control of the demon's contract and the more subtle telepathic link with their highest servants, the Gorosei and God's Knights, is a central theme in the final saga, establishing Imu's power over the minds of the world government. When Saint Saturn's situation on Egghead became critical, the other four Gorosei appeared almost instantly using their unique summoning circle teleportation method. Gorosei's ability to summon themselves or appear in rapid succession over vast distances, particularly after Saturn suffered severe damage, implies a hive mind or a shared mental network that bypasses Den Mushi communication. They act as satellites of Imu, constantly monitoring events through this shared link. Many believe the telepathy is primarily one way. Imu can project their will orders to the elders and perhaps hear the elders' thoughts, especially when they are stressed or recalling memories, as some theories suggest, but the elders cannot casually communicate back to Imu without being summoned or through conventional means, reinforcing Imu's untouchable authority. The most direct evidence of Imu reading minds involves the God's Knight Saint Manmayer Gunko, as Gunko sees Brook and begins to recall her past, showing an immediate moment of mental hesitation and vulnerability. Imu's presence is triggered. Imu seized control of Gunko's body precisely at the moment her loyalty wavered. This suggests Imu is not only aware of her location, but but can actively monitor the thoughts, memories, and allegiance of their direct subordinates, waiting for a crack in their loyalty to enforce possession. This is the telepathy, hearing thoughts, leading directly to mind control. The most powerful indirect evidence of Imu's supremacy in Haki comes from the events of the God Valley flashback. Rox D. Zebek, a figure who challenged the world and was arguably the strongest Haoshoku user of his era besides Roger, was defeated and corrupted. Fan analysis widely cites the principle that to defeat an immortal or highly regenerative opponent like the Gorosei, one needs superior Haoshoku Haki coating. The flashback confirms that Roger and Garp had to combine their Haki to overcome the demon Zebek after Imu's corruption. This suggests that Imu's own will, Haki, was strong enough to break and dominate Zebek's formidable will first. If Roger and Garp's combined ACOC was needed to defeat Zebek, Imu's singular will must be stronger than Zebek's to enslave him, placing Imu's Haki mastery at the pinnacle of the series. When Imu appears on Elbaf, the sheer crushing evil of their transformation and the release of their power is felt across the island. Many believe that Gaban's reaction and recognition of the power as proof that Imu's aura is on the level of the strongest figures of the previous generation. The oppressive aura that enables the Dori Reversi ritual is Imu's pure, unfiltered conqueror's will being exerted on the world. Next is Imu's demonic transformation. This ability, especially when tied to the most recent lore reveals, paints Imu as the ultimate devil. It is a powerful ability used by Imu to transform individuals into demons. The power works by amplifying the pre-existing evilness or sinfulness within a person's character. It doesn't create evil out of nothing. It just amplifies what's already there. That's why it worked so well on guys like Rox D. Zebek and the giant pirates Brogy and Dori, who all had pretty dark pasts. Imu seems to have two ways to activate it: the magic circle and the direct stab. The circle, book, and incantation suggest Imu requires a ritual to access the power of the abyss or underworld. This may be necessary when using a less potent vessel like Gunko, or when the target's will is initially too strong like Dori and Brogy, which have immense Haoshoku Haki and the will of Elbaf. As for Rox, he fights fiercely to protect his wife and child. Imu, possessing Saint Saturn, launches a shadowy claw/tendril attack that pierces Zebek. The manga panels depict Zebek's body becoming engulfed in a dark, evil energy before he is defeated by the combined attack of Roger and Garp. This method suggests Imu can use their power directly through a physical touch or stab, potentially imbuing the target with dark energy or forcing the corruption without the need for a ritual. Those affected by Dori Reversi gain immortality, prodigious strength, and lose their free will, becoming utterly obedient to Imu. This transformation essentially provides a massive buff to the target in exchange for a piece of their lifespan, solidifying Imu's broken and magical power set. The most horrifying part isn't just the transformation, it's that the victims might still be aware of what's happening. Even after being turned, Brogy and Dori were talking normally, but they were forced to follow Imu's commands. This suggests that Zebek might be trapped inside his own body, aware that he's trying to kill his own family, which is why he might beg Garp and Roger to put him down. After the Revolutionary Army's Chief of Staff Sabo manages to escape Marie-Joise, the Holy Land, he contacts the rest of the Revolutionary Army from the Lulusia Kingdom. During this call, Sabo reports witnessing Imu, the figure sitting on the empty throne, and seeing a giant straw hat in a frozen vault. Crucially, he also mentions seeing Imu looking at a map of the world, with the Lulusia Kingdom circled. Before Sabo can finish his report, an enormous shadow appears over the island, followed by a pillar of light or beam that strikes the Lulusia Kingdom. The entire island is instantly vaporized, leaving nothing behind but a massive hole in the sea, which is immediately filled by a whirlpool. The attack is delivered with absolute precision and power, demonstrating a capability far exceeding any weapon previously seen in the series. The attack is strongly implied to be Imu commanding the ancient weapon Uranus, the sudden godlike scale of destruction, which mirrors the capabilities of the other known ancient weapons of mass destruction. And that is the terrifying power Imu has, the true king of the world and the final boss of the One Piece universe. Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share.